Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and this will be my winter reading wrap up. So I know it's been a while since I've done a book related video. It's been a while since I've done a TBR or a wrap up. I don't know why I started off this year with a January TBR, because I had started doing seasonal TBRs, and for some reason I ended up filming a monthly one. So that was my bad, because I don't really want to go back to doing the monthly TBRs. So when you do see another TBR from me, it will be a seasonal TBR. Probably spring if I can get it out on time, or we'll probably just skip right over spring and go straight into summer. I don't know yet. But anyway, I do want to talk about some of the books that I read during the winter season. These will be books that I read from January to the end of March, or I should say April. All right, first a book is my best friend's Exorcism. I really enjoyed this. I really love the cover, first of all, because it reminds me of an old VHS tape. I grew up during that era, so nostalgia there. Not to mention all the 80s references, even the songs as the titles of the chapters. That was great. In this book, we have two best friends, Abby and Gretchen, and something mysterious begins to happen to Gretchen, and she begins to behave differently. And yes, this is a horror story. It has some, supernatural horror elements, as far as the possession and whatnot is concerned. But at the end of the day, this is a story about friendship and the struggles of friendship and the power of friendship. Even after Gretchen started acting differently towards her friend Abby, and she did some things to hurt her, Abby was still determined to help her friend. That's a good friend. So at the end of the day, this book is about the benefits of having a good friend in your corner. Good friends are hard to come by, because not everybody would have done the things that Abby did in this story to help their friend. She was a true friend through and through. I thought it was really great. I gave it 4 stars. I also finished The Magician. This was a fantastic book. I just recently posted my review on Goodreads, on my book blog, and on Amazon. I'll leave those links down below, as well as links to where you can purchase this book. The author sent me this book in return for an honest review, and I thought it was great. I gave this book 4 stars. Each different part of the book takes us on an adventure with the magician. Really enjoyed the different adventures and journeys I got to go on with this character. It was action-packed. I would recommend. Fantastic story. I would actually like to see this in graphic novel format, with the different artistic styles, making that whole world come to life. I think that would be fantastic. I will be sharing this year some of the books that me and my kids read together. So you will see a lot of children's books in this wrap up. One of them is Pies from Nowhere. This is the story about a woman using her love for food and her cooking skills to help during the Montgomery bus boycott. Another book I read with my youngest son is James and the Giant Peach. This copy is so beautiful. I don't know if you can see that, but it is so pretty. And the illustrations on the inside are really, really gorgeous as well. There's not many illustrations inside, but the ones that we do get are very pretty. Let me see. I just love this book. It was so adorable. We really had a great time reading this. There's a movie of the same name. Most people have seen it. But there's a young boy. He's sort of emotionally, verbally abused by his aunts, and he finds solace in on this peach with these different insects that he ends up befriending. And of course, it's symbolism and a metaphor for something else, but fantastic story. Really love this book. I gave James and the Giant Peach 5 stars. And I'm not really rating the children's books that me and my kids read together. Another book I have here that we read together was All Because You Matter. This is a book for Black children to read and feel seen and understand that they too matter, that they too are important in the world. We also read I Am Enough. This is a story about loving who you are and respecting others and being kind. Another book we read together was The Oldest Student, How Mary Walker Learned to Read. I absolutely love this story. I mean, I love all these stories, but some just stick out more than others, especially this one. This is the inspirational story about a woman who didn't learn to read until she was 116 years old, and she lived to be 121. And this just goes to show that it's never too late. It's never too late to do whatever it is that you think you want to do. Go ahead and do it. Because if Mary Walker can learn how to read at 116 years old, nobody else in this world has any excuses. We also read Parker Looks Up, An Extraordinary Moment. Of course, this book is about the real life story of this little girl who went to this museum and was totally mesmerized by the portrait of First Lady Michelle Obama. And of course, this book deals with representation. Fantastic story. This next book is I Am Every Good Thing. This is a book that celebrates Black boys and everything that is magnificent about them, everything that makes them them, and so that they can embrace that and know that, you know, they're special as well. I also read Grandma's Records with my son. Very cute story about how a boy's grandma sort of encouraged his love for music. Also read Catching the Moon, the story of a young girl's baseball dream. This is the real life story about a young girl who broke all those stereotypes and gender rules. She broke all the rules to make sure that her dreams of playing baseball became a reality. Such a fantastic story. We also read The 1619 Project, Born on the Water. This is the story about a student who has to do a family tree assignment in school, and they can only trace their roots back 3 generations. So her grandmother gathers the whole family, and the student learns that 400 years ago in 1619, their ancestors were stolen and brought to America by European enslavers. I also read, God, I love this book. This book blew me away. Pet. This book, 5 stars for Pet. And there's a sequel, and I need it ASAP. I think the sequel is called Bitter. I need to read it ASAP. I don't know why it took me so long to read this freaking book. This book is incredible. And it actually struck a nerve with me because there are some things about abuse in this story that I have experience with. So it hit me differently. You know, it hit me in a deeper way than a book normally would have. But anyway, this book explores the idea of monsters and how, you know, anybody can be a monster. In this story, a real life monster comes out of one of Jam's mother's paintings, and he looks like what someone would describe as a monster. But as you read further on in the story, you learn that some of the worst monsters in the world aren't always the ones who appear as monsters. Such a deep message. I have so much to say about this. As you can see, I tabbed the shit out of it. I tabbed this book so much, and I need to just go ahead and write a review about this, but I have to get my thoughts together. This book blew me away. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. 5 stars. If you have not read this book, I recommend you read this. Read this book. It's so powerful. I mean, it didn't win all these awards and honors for no reason. This is a fantastic story. Fantastic book. Me and my son also read Flora and the Runaway Rooster. So the rooster gets away, and I believe Flora and her friend are chasing down this rooster. Yes, they are trying to retrieve the rooster, but they're learning different things as they are traveling and chasing after this rooster. They're learning different things along the way. I read this Rosa Parks story to my son. National Geographic Kids, Rosa Parks. That's self-explanatory. We also read the story of Ruby Bridges, the true story of a civil rights icon. Self-explanatory. If you don't know, Ruby Bridges was one of the, when they were starting to desegregate schools, she was one of the first little girls, little black girls, to go to an all-white school. And the white parents were so upset that they end up pulling their kids out. She had to be escorted there every day, and a lot of the time she was the only kid in the classroom because parents just refused to send their kids to school with a black student, which is fucking ridiculous. All right, Hidden Figures. I also read this one, the true story of 4 black women in the space race. And most of us know what this is about. We've seen the movie starring Taraji P. Henson. But this is about how 4 black women helped America get to space using their math skills. Hair Love. This is another book about black hair and the love and acceptance and versatility of black hair. We read Miss Ruffus. This is a story about a woman who set out to see wonderful things in the world and do wonderful things in the world. And that is exactly what she achieves in this book. We also read Wilma Unlimited. Of course, this is about Wilma Rudolph, who was one of the fastest women racers, runners in the world. We also read Basketball Bells, how 2 teams and 1 scrappy player put women's hoops on the map. So this is a historical book about how one way in which women's or female basketball began. Me and my son also read Sisters and Champions, the true story of Venus and Serena Williams. This is self-explanatory. It's the story about Serena and Venus. We read Fresh Princess. This is inspired by Will Smith, The Fresh Prince. This young girl, she moves to a new area. She's kind of hip, but when she gets to this new neighborhood, things are a little different, and it takes her some time to adjust. But she remembers who she is and how fresh she is, and she applies that sort of mindset to start to fit in with her new surroundings. Things aren't the same as they were in her old neighborhood, and to make matters worse, she thinks everyone is a better double dutch jumper than she is. So she starts to put a plan into motion, and she'll stop at nothing to find the perfect chance to jump in. Really cute story. We also read Don't Touch My Hair. Don't touch my hair. This is a story about boundaries and black hair. We read Your Name is a Song. This is a story about celebrating that name that you have that sounds a little different than everybody else's name. And I also finally finished reading Frankenstein. I absolutely loved it. This is another story where I tabbed a lot, that I have a lot to say about. I don't want to give a review here. Just know I gave Frankenstein 5 stars. I'm going to have to write a review about this. But, I don't think that the monster, and I hate calling him a monster, Victor's creation, was actually a monster. I don't think that he was actually a monster. I think that Victor is the monster in this story, and I have so many things to say about it, but I really enjoyed it. Is this the only book that Mary Shelley wrote? It was fantastic. I also listened to one audiobook. Well, I'm listening to several audiobooks, but I finished one during the winter season, and that book was The Hive. This is a mystery story. There's a lot going on in this story, and I just don't want to sit here and talk about it. I just don't, because there's a lot of different things happening in this story. I gave it 3 stars. Basically, there's this woman, I want to call her a scammer, who she was getting by making these other women believe like she was some sort of like Messiah or something. They like some sort of prophet or a holy I don't even know. The way these women looked up to her and sort of worshipped her, and basically was giving their entire life savings to her. It was so bizarre, and there's people turning up dead and missing, and in the end, I was not satisfied with the ending in the end, because after everything that this woman had done and some other people that she was involved with, I mean, people were dying, getting killed. She was responsible for so much damage. And in the end, there were no punishment. There was no repercussions for any of the things she did. She basically got a slap on the wrist and got off so easy. And I hated that. But at the same time, I do realize that people who have a certain type of status in the world will get away with more things than the average person. And she did have status, and she was a white woman. So, I was like, after all of that, that's all we get. I was left so unsatisfied. But the story was enjoyable. I did give it 3 stars. But it's a lot going on in this story. Just go look up the synopsis, because I don't want to sit here and explain it all. But yeah, those are all the books I read for the winter season. There are some that I started but haven't finished yet. Still reading Game of Thrones, y'all. Still reading Game of Thrones. I'm still reading that one. I'm still reading I Am Legend. I'm reading some books with my son. I'm reading books, y'all. It's coming along. I don't think I read any of the books that I said I had wanted to read in my January TBR. Like, I should just stop doing TBRs, because for the most part, I don't stick to them. All right, so I am running out of recording time, so I'm going to end this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you read any of these books, of course, let me know. If you want to ask me questions about any of these, let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you know each time I upload. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.